And we need people that are, like Carl Icahn endorsed me, the great businessman. He's worth a fortune. He's a great negotiator, one of the great negotiators. Other people are endorsing me, the biggest businessmen. Some of them are endorsing me, don't even like me. But they know I'm really smart. I do what I do. I built this incredible company. Remember when I filed the papers, everyone said, oh, he'll never run because maybe his company's not as big. Well, it turned out to be much bigger, much better, much stronger. They can't believe it. You never heard anything about it since I filed. They were down there, hundreds of them, looking over the papers. Oh, my God, he's really much bigger than we ever thought. He built an unbelievable company. They were down there. They say more people were down looking at those papers. Almost 100 pages of financials. An incredible company, very low debt, tremendous cash flow. The press was devastated. Right, fellas? Were you devastated? They were down. They were devastated. And I tell you that not to brag about my company, because it's a private company. Nobody knows what I have. It's a private company. It's beautiful. That was really a big opening for me. I mean, for me to run for president, it's not an easy thing. All my life I've heard if you're a very successful person, you can't run for president. I understand what it means because they they lie and they cheat and they're dishonest. You know, many of them. I had a story recently where I went up in the polls. I'm leading by a lot and he's leaving. Let me tell you, I'm not leaving, folks, ever. I'm not leaving. Ever. I'm not leaving. We're going to win. We're going to win. I think we're going to win. But you know, these pundits who are worthless, you know, George Will, the guys, I mean, these guys they're worthless. They said, he will never run. He's got the personality of that piece of concrete. He goes, he will not run. He will not run. Then I announce I'm running. He will not file his paper. He will not file Form A. Form A is the first filing where you sign your life away. Then I file Form A. He goes, oh, well, he will not file his financials. And if he does, they will never be filed on time because he's probably not as rich as people think. So I was one of the only ones that filed ahead of schedule. In fact, I have to be honest, my financials are so good that I hadn't really decided on running because it does take guts. I have to be honest. Not the kind of guts those people had who I just brought up here. Not the kind of guts the wounded warriors have and the vets have. I tell you what, I don't have that guts. Those are real guts. But it takes guts to run. It takes guts to run. But then he said he won't file. So they turned out to be good. The only reason I talk about how good my company is because that's the kind of mentality we need running the country. That's it. That's the only reason. And I was actually, you know, they were all saying he'll never file his financials because who knows? You know, they had no idea. I was going to file them even if I didn't run. I was seriously thinking about not running, too. You know what I did? You know the famous scene of my coming down the escalator with my wife, Melania, who looked very beautiful coming down the escalator. We have to say. You will have one beautiful first lady, that I can tell you. And she's got a great heart, and she is really smart. But she's got a great heart. But she's coming down, and she's a very calm person. And she's waving beautifully like this. Remember, very famous scene now. They play it all the time, coming down the escalator. I think they play it because she's in the picture, not because I'm waving and she's just going like this. But if you remember that famous thing, well, just before then, I said, I wonder if I'm going to do this. I mean, I'm standing up top. The press is all over the place. The place was surrounded. They will tell you. I've never seen it. It was like the Academy Awards. And I did this. I said, because I tell you, I went, let's go. I took a deep breath. I came down in the escalator, and here we are. Who would have known this was going to happen? Who would have known this was going to happen? You know. And a lot of things have happened since, and a lot of great things have happened since, because, you know, I had no idea that I'd do as well as we've done thus far. Now the big thing, these same characters that, you know, that said I wasn't going to run, now they're saying, well, it's only a question of time before he gets out. Why? Why would I get out? I was interviewed by Chuck Todd of Meet the Press. He's a nice guy. And he asked me the question. I was it just came out where I was leading substantially. And he said, will you get out of the race? And I said to myself, has that question ever been asked to a person that just took the lead? You know, it's such a negative question, isn't it? And I made a mistake. I said, this is a couple of months ago. We've recovered from that mistake. But I made a mistake. I said, here's the story, Chuck. I'm leading now. I have the biggest crowds, the biggest everything. If for some reason I went down in the polls, because I believe in polls. I think, there's at least they're a reflection of what's happening. If for some reason I went down in the polls and people didn't want to see me anymore, so you'd have 100 people show up when you used to have 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 like today, or you wouldn't do well. Yeah, I'm not a masochist. I think probably I'd go out. And that was a killer answer. You know why? Next day, Trump may leave the race. No, it was right? Trump, I said, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I remember Rand Paul, who's at like 1. No. They asked him the question. Are you going to leave the race? Now, you know he's going to leave the race. Going to have to leave the race. But they asked, and I'm not knocking him, but it's political speak versus somebody that was never a politician before. I'm giving all the reasons for which I'd leave. But I'm doing better than I've ever done. And the question shouldn't have been asked. But I give all the reasons. And actually, my wife said, that was a really nice answer. It was such an honest answer. I said, good, I think so. I got killed. Okay. So what happened? They asked Rand Paul. He's at 1 or 2. He's leaving, folks. He's leaving. He's got to leave. Otherwise, he's not going to be senator from Kentucky. So they said, will you consider leaving the race? Absolutely not. I will not leave the race. There was no story. They asked a couple of other guys. They're at 0. Are you going to leave the race? No, you know it's good. They're at 0 and they have no money. Other than that, they're doing very well. Right? No, they're at 0. I saw it the other day. They asked Lindsey Graham. He's in 2 in South Carolina. I'm at 38. He's the sitting senator. No, think of it. They said, Senator Graham, are you going to leave the race? Absolutely not. I will not leave the race. And I said, that's a politician. I'm not blaming Graham. I'm not blaming Rand Paul. But there was no story. I gave an honest answer, and I end up, I will not ever leave this race, okay? Ever. I'm not leaving it. And you know what? And I'm still number 1 by a lot, so that's the reason I'm not leaving. So anyway. Just a couple of things. I'm going to talk to you about a few things, and I know it's a crazy day, and with the tragedy yesterday, that was some horrible thing. I mean, people see that, and they just, it's so terrible to watch. But I love this group of people. I love this area. I know this area. I have friends here. These are amazing. These are the people. You built the country, folks. You built the country. You've done an amazing job. But just so you know, because there's been a lot of talk lately about stances on different things. Without me, there wouldn't be any talk of walls. There wouldn't be any talk of immigration, illegal immigration. Those folks would not have a voice at all. They've been treated horribly. They've been treated so badly, probably worse than anybody. I mean, you see that. And because of me, and I'm very proud of it, immigration is one of the top couple of subjects, maybe the top. In a lot of people's minds, it's a top subject. And when you get to Texas, it's got to be a real subject, because you're the ones that are really... I mean, I had such a crowd in Phoenix, Arizona. They get the brunt of it. You get the brunt of it. Some people don't know it as much. But when you go to New Hampshire, you know, they have a tremendous heroin problem in New Hampshire. Tremendous. Beyond anything that you can believe. And it comes over the border. So they're all affected. Everybody's affected. When you look at the gangs in Los Angeles, a lot of those gangs are illegal immigrants. These are tough dudes. By the way, they will be out of there so fast. They will be out of there so fast. They'll be out before I start the wall. I'll be starting that wall fast. By the way, they will be out of there so fast. We have some of these tough gangs, and they're all illegal immigrants. And those guys have got, and we're not going to put them in our jails. I know a lot of people would say, we're going to put them back. We're bringing them back to the country they came for. Let them use their jails, okay? Let them use their jails. Our jails are brimming right now with people that shouldn't be in our prison system. They'll be in there for years and years and years, and we'll be paying for them. Not going to happen, folks. We're bringing them back where they came. And when a specific country sends them over to the United States because we have among the dumbest people in the world leading us, and we accept their people, okay? When they send them, they're not coming through. Not with me. They're not coming through. They're not coming through. So, in 1954, General Eisenhower, you've been reading about this. You know, nobody even knew about it until I brought it up. Is that look at a handsome beard. Look at the beard on that guy. I do that, but I probably couldn't get voted. I don't know. But it looks good. But in 1954, General Eisenhower, I like Ike. Everybody liked Ike, even though he was a general. Everybody liked him but General MacArthur. You know why? Because General MacArthur was a very special guy. Tough, a genius. The highest marks in the history of West Point. General Douglas MacArthur. Good, right? And General MacArthur couldn't stand taking orders from anybody because he felt he was superior to everybody. And Ike was a less than average student at West Point. And MacArthur couldn't understand it. You know, to this day, General Douglas MacArthur had the highest marks in the history of West Point. Pretty good. You know, I'm into the academic thing, to be honest with you. It means something, right? And he couldn't stand it. But we have MacArthurs, and we have General George Patton. Great. By the way, what do you think General Patton would do as he's listening to Barack Obama say, we are sending tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, 50 p.m., he's right now spinning in his grave, and so is MacArthur. But Eisenhower was a nice man. I like Ike. That was his slogan. Like mine is, make America great again. True. Make America great again. How good is that? Is that good? Do I hit it? That hit it on the head. You know, I've had guys try and copy. Some of the people running against me use that expression. But I had legal rights to it. Do you believe how good am I at this stuff? So we put them on notice. They weren't allowed to use that. Can you believe? Make America great again. The plane was landing before, and the pilot saying, coming in, coming in. Okay, you're cleared to land. Make America great again. This is from the control tower. And my pilot said, Mr. Trump heard that. I wanted to kiss those people. Make America great again. But Ike's was a little different. I like Ike, because he was a lovable guy. He was a nice guy. But despite being a nice guy, they had a problem with illegal immigrants. No, nothing changes. They had a problem. So they moved out 1.5 million illegal immigrants, right? They moved them out. They were having a tremendous problem with jobs. You know, jobs is a big thing. They're taking jobs from people that want them. We have 100 million people. A lot of those people want to work. This 5.2% unemployment is nonsense. That was written and designed for politicians so they look good. We probably have 25% unemployment, okay, if you look at it, the real numbers. Or I wouldn't be getting the crowds I'm getting, or I wouldn't be getting the responses or the polling numbers. We probably have 25% unemployment. So I like Ike. So Ike sent a smart task force, and they moved a lot of people. And they took them, and they moved them right across the border, and they came immediately back. And then they moved them again, and they came back. They say, this isn't working. They keep coming back. Then they moved them all the way south, and they never came back, you know. Now, it's rough stuff. Today, it's harder to do things like that. But they didn't even think about it. They said, no, they're here illegally. See, those days, they are here illegally. Illegally! Not legally, illegally. Everyone says to me, Bill O'Reilly the other night, he's a great guy, but he said to me, had a little argument with me. He said, the court system will take you a long time. I said, you don't understand, Bill, they're here illegally. No, but the courts. So, if somebody walks over the line, they bring them immediately back, right? Now, in our case, we don't, but you could. They walk over the line, you bring them back. Okay. So they bring them right back. So they walk over the line a year ago, you bring them back. There's no difference. If it was 3 years ago, they're here illegally. They're here illegally. And everybody said on the anchor baby, I was wrong. They said, if you have a baby here, and I discussed it. And then I turned out to be right. This is the same thing. The anchor baby, you can't have a baby here if you're here illegally, have a baby. Now, you're going to have some court cases. But believe me, I win. If I'm president, I guarantee I win. I win on the anchor baby. And I win on this too. Because no, I don't want to go through a court system every time you want to bring an illegal person out. I don't want to go. I know more about courts than any human being on earth. Okay? And I don't want to go through a court system with the lawyers and the problem. But they're here illegally. We're bringing them out. That's all. That's all. Now, let me tell you what happened with Eisenhower. Because it gets mixed reviews. Now they say, oh, it was very harsh. And I'm sure it was in some cases. But let me tell you. When they started, and this was serious. This wasn't like we're playing games like today where everything's so politically correct. You know, everyone, oh, gee, well, we can't do that. Let's do it. This was serious stuff. They moved them. And by the way, Harry Truman moved, they say, millions of people out. Millions. Harry Truman, before Reich. Moved millions of people. Nobody talks about this. They say what a bad guy I am, how it doesn't work. It does work. It does work. And I want him to come back, by the way, just so you know. I want to make it clear. I want him to come back, but I want him to come back legally. And if we need workers for the grapes, and I'll say this, because a lot of people say the grapes, and I don't think any of you guys are going to be picking grapes, okay? I really don't think so. I want to be picking the pockets of Wall Street, but not grapes. But if we need some people, we can bring people in on work visas. We can bring them in, but they have to go out. Bring them in. If you need them for the farms, if you need them badly, you bring them in, you got to go out. They got to be here legally. They got to be here legally. So here's what happened in the case of Eisenhower. They moved people, and they moved them out. You know what happened with the people that didn't get caught or whatever? You know what happened? They moved themselves. They moved themselves. They said, oh, wait, they're going to come to us next week. They're going to come to us in a month. They all moved back. Millions of people left. Millions of illegals left. They left of their own volition. Not that stupid Romney stuff with self-deportation. I mean, how? They're going to self-deport. Oh, yeah, right. Then you wonder why he lost, right, folks? But this is something where many of them, once the system started, and once they saw there was no games, they moved them out. Now, today we have things like E-Verify, where the employer will say, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I use now E-Verify in most of my jobs. I have thousands and thousands of employees. I've hired tens of thousands of employees, many Hispanic over the years, many. They're fantastic. Many from Mexico. Today, many employees from Mexico. They're great. But I have, and I think to me it's very important, E-Verify. So now I find out, are they legal or not? Now, if they can't get a job, they're moving out. They're going to move out. Nobody has to, you don't need soldiers. They're going to move out. It's so simple. But a politician doesn't know this. A politician doesn't know it. They're all talk. They're no action. All they know how to do is get reelected. That's all they know how to do. So, when you see the remembrance, folks, and when you see all the problems, we're not going to have that kind of problem. We're going to have a lot of winning. We're going to be doing a lot of winning. I'm telling you. We're going to win everything we start. We're going to win. Because I win my whole life. That's why it always bothers me. They say, well, Trump's had a great time. And he's done really well. But he doesn't really want to be president. Do you think he really wants to be president? No. I'm doing this for my health. Okay? I came to Texas at 12 o'clock in the afternoon because I want to do this. I want the end result. Somebody said, well, why are you doing it? And I said, because I honestly believe that the American dream is dead. But I'm going to make it bigger and better and stronger than ever before. I really believe that. I really believe it. I really believe it. So if you look at Rubio, he was a member of the gang in Bait, and Rubio wants amnesty. Give everybody amnesty. These, just so you understand, these are lightweights. These are not people that can take us to the promised land. These are not people. They're nice people. I like them very much. I stood with them the other day. Excellent person. You know, who cares? But he was a member of the Gang of Eight. The Gang of Eight, you know what that was? That was a group that just wanted people to flow in. Okay? Member of the Gang of Eight. And when his poll numbers went down, he all of a sudden became an unmember of the Gang of Eight. It's not what we need. So Rubio is weak on illegal immigration, weak on the amnesty, wants everybody to have amnesty. Can't do it. Carson, very, very weak on immigration. Very, very, very weak. Wants everybody to have path. He wants worse. He wants a path to citizenship for people that came into the country. Think of it. They come in illegally. Now they become citizens. One of the problems with that is we have right now millions of people wanting to come into the country. And they've done it through legal channels. They've done it right through legal channels. And we've got to be fair to those people also. So, just in a nutshell on immigration, because I know how important it is for Texas, we're going to have a wall. It's going to be a great wall. It's not going to be a wall that people can walk over, climb over. This is going to be a serious wall. And it's going to be built at the right cause. Mexico is going to pay for the wall, believe me. No, they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it. We're going to get the bad ones out really fast. I mean, so fast. And the rest, it's going to have to happen. And everyone's going to be happy in the end. People are going to be happy. We're going to have jobs. We're going to do a great job. We're going to be fair. And we're going to do it with a very, very big heart. It's going to be done humanely. Remember that. It's going to be done humanely. So just to finish off, because I wanted to really harp on that a little bit, the immigration, because it's so important and such a big factor. And it's become such a big factor in the race. I'm proud of it. But we are going to negotiate great deals. I mentioned Carl Icahn before. I'm going to use the smartest. We have the smartest people. We have the best people. We have the best minds. We have the best business minds. We don't use them. We use political hacks. We use people that put money into a super PAC, and they end up getting jobs because they gave a couple of bucks to a super PAC. And the super PACs, by the way, I don't have super PACs. I said I don't want any super. Super PACs are controlling your senators. They're controlling every candidate. They'll only do what's right for those people that gave them money. The donors, the special interest, those are the only people, believe me, they control the politicians. Nobody's given me any money other than the small donors where, frankly, if people send in $25 and $50, I have to take the money because it's not that it's a lot of money. If you send that money back, it's so and so. How do you send it back? We don't want your money. So I take small donations, small. And I say, that's fine, because that's like an investment in the country. But it's peanuts. But, so I don't take any money. I'm putting my own money. I'm funding my own campaign. I'm spending a fortune. And I am spending, but so far I haven't spent that much. So far, listen to this one. This is a stat that some people like and some people say, maybe it doesn't sound good, but I like it. The business people will like it. So far, I've spent less money than anybody else, and I've had the best result of anybody else, right? Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Less money and the best result. And that's what I like. And wouldn't it be nice if we could do that with a country? We spent less money, and we have in education. We spend more money than any other country by double and triple per pupil. And yet we're rated number 28 in the world. We have nations that you wouldn't believe ahead of us. We have nations that you wouldn't believe. So we're going to win on trade. We're going to take our jobs back. We're going to bring jobs into the country. We're going to beat China. We're going to beat Japan. We're going to do great with Mexico. We're going to do wonderfully with that horrible Iran pact. I love to renegotiate deals, okay? But we're going to take that horrible deal, the worst deal I've ever seen negotiated. We're going to end Obamacare. We're going to terminate it. We're going to terminate it. We're terminating Obamacare. We're going to replace it with something that's far better, far less expensive for you and for the country. We're going to replace it with something that's really good. And the insurance companies will not like me because right now they are making a fortune. And your rates your premiums are doubling and tripling. They're doubling and tripling. They're going up 45, 55, 60%. Nobody knows what's happening. The insurance companies, they backed Obama. They're making a fortune. I couldn't care less about the insurance companies, okay? Couldn't care less. So we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. I sometimes joke. I say, you're going to win so much, you're going to get sick of winning. But the truth is, we never get sick of winning. We never get sick of winning. We're going to win so much. You're going to be so proud of this country. You're going to be so proud of your